How many times has an adult told you, or maybe you, an adult, have told a child, get off that dang electronic, it's gonna rot your brain? Well, that's not very true, but it might do something worse. It might shorten your attention span. But how does this happen? Well, what can it do to you, and why does this even matter? In the 70s, it was found that the average human attention span was 12 minutes. In the 2000s, it was 12 seconds. Nowadays, it's 8 seconds. This is shorter than the average attention span of a goldfish at 9 seconds. Now, an attention span is the taking possession by the mind in the clear and vivid form of one out of what seems several simultaneously possible objects or trains of thought, according to William James, the famed philosopher. This boils down to an attention span being how long your mind can stay focused on one object before it gets distracted by another. This huge change in our attention spans from 12 minutes to 8 seconds has come about with the technological advancements that we've been experiencing since the turn of the century. Ever since smartphones came out, we've been experiencing apps such as TikTok and Instagram giving us short 7-second to 1-minute clips in an almost infinite amount. We can see them over and over and over for hours on end if we choose to. The reason we can go on like this for hours at a time is because of the release of dopamine we get from these activities. This is the actual chemical that makes us happy. This can come from activities such as reading a book, exercising, or scrolling through TikTok. Our brain loves getting dopamine because of how it makes us feel, which means you will want to do these activities that trigger your dopamine. This is why people seem to be addicted to social media sites or watching trashy TV shows. They kind of are addicted, but not to the activity, to the feeling it gives them. This can lead to healthy habits like daily exercise or conversations with loved ones, or unhealthy habits like scrolling through social media for hours on end while ignoring homework. As a result of these unhealthy habits and our attention span being shortened, we become used to the work style of switching our attention from one thing to another over and over and over, or an unhealthy amount of multitasking. Not only do these unhealthy habits lead to your attention span being a mess, but so do healthy habits and necessities like going to school. You have to sit down, listen to your teacher give you information, and while they're talking, you have to take down notes. And then you have to take into account distractions like your friend talking to you, or your phone buzzing in your pocket, and wandering thoughts like, oh, what's for lunch today? All of this, all of your brain's doing it all at the same time while trying to do something that's necessary, schoolwork. Now, a common factor that you saw between both the unhealthy habits and the healthy habits was multitasking. And this isn't just, oh, I'm going to do this and this at the same time. No. What I mean by this is whenever you go online, notice that there are hundreds, thousands, maybe even billions of things going on all at once that you don't even realize. This is when you go onto YouTube, you see hundreds of videos right alongside the one you're trying to watch. And then you get interrupted by ads, or you get interrupted by the phone in your pocket, a friend's trying to talk to you. Your brain is taking all this information all at the same time, and it's being overstimulated. Because of this, it adapts, and your attention span becomes shortened so that it's able to react quicker and quicker and quicker to all this information coming at it at once. However, once you take a step back, once you try to relax, this is when the attention span starts to affect you. Let's say you decide to, I'm just going to watch a video, I'm going to relax. Well, because of this attention span deficit, your brain is going to want to recreate the feeling of being overstimulated because that's what it's used to. So as soon as you sit down, try to watch one video, you might click on it and decide, I want to watch this video. No, I want to watch this video. And it's only satisfied whenever it gets something such as TikTok, where you can see millions and millions of videos all right next to each other. You're never understimulated. You're always overstimulated. This can lead to our blood pressure being heightened, and that can lead to stress. Now, natural stress is a good thing. This kicks in whenever you say, don't finish your project in time. It kicks in, make sure you finish your video on time so you can turn it in on Tuesday. That's good stress. That's natural stress. However, unnatural stress comes from multitasking over and over and over. Your blood pressure becomes heightened. You get stressed out every single day. This can lead to mental health disorders, depression. This can lead to you becoming physically sick with things like nausea or vomiting. It's not a good thing. And this all comes from your attention span being shortened. Not only can a shortened attention span lead to stress, it can also lead to you missing out on vital information. Now here, let's say your boss gives you specific instructions on how he wants you to complete a task. If you're not listening to him because your mind is wandering all over the place, you're not going to be able to complete that task the way he wants you to. You're not going to be following orders. Now, that's school analogy. If you're not paying attention in class, you might get a B on it, to C on the test. You might get a little bad grade, detention. In real life, at your job, if you miss out on vital information, you might get your pay docked. You might get demoted. At worst, you might even get let go. You might get fired. This is where a shortened attention span really comes into play as a bad thing. With the help of my friends, I was able to test the human attention span. What I did was, I had 6 of my friends work on their assignments or other homework, and while they were working, I would watch them work and monitor their screens. Every time they switched apps or tabs, turned to look at someone, or even asked me if we were done yet, I would mark it as a shift of attention on my stopwatch. This is how I found that the average attention span from all 6 people was 10 seconds. This means it took them 10 seconds to shift their attention from one object to another. The shortest was a 5-second average, and the longest was a 17-second average. The longest someone was able to maintain their focus was 1 minute and 40 seconds, and the shortest was 18 milliseconds. I want to circle back to my friend's test results. One of the longest attention spans I found was my friend Arifin at 17 seconds. Now, I believe we can achieve these huge, long attention spans because of something I like to call preferred mental activities. Now, this refers to things that we enjoy doing and that, again, release dopamine. Now, because our brain likes dopamine and wants it, attention span goes out the window. As you can see here, a great example of it in this YouTube video. As you can see, it doesn't matter whether your attention span is the longest or the shortest. When it comes to preferred mental activities, your brain will be in it for the long haul. This is because it knows whether you're running a 5K or watching a movie or playing a video game. Dopamine will be released and the brain will be rewarded for paying attention. And not just paying attention, just being active while this activity is happening. For example, I myself sat down and watched Zack Snyder's Justice League, an amazing movie, by the way, 4 hours long. All the way through. Didn't go to the restroom. I was drinking water. It didn't matter. But then I get to school a few weeks later, taking a 30-minute test. It felt endless. It felt like I was about to pass out. Why does this happen? Dopamine and our attention spans. Now, I've been telling you all this stuff about how bad a shortened attention span is. Here's the really important thing: how you can fix it. I have found 4 quick and simple ways to help improve our attention spans over time, and as a result, decrease the amount of stress that many of us are under in our day-to-day lives. This starts with number 1, taking appropriate breaks. This means taking breaks at appropriately structured times from important activities. For example, while making these videos, I took a quick 30-minute nap between part 1 and part 2. On a quick side note, part 1 deep dives into what the attention span is and why it's shortening and why it's bad in general. I'd recommend going and watch that first, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. Part 2 is what you're watching right now, and let's get back into that. The only problem with this step is procrastination. If you choose this strategy to increase your attention span, you need to make sure you pick the assignment or task back up sometime after you break it, or it'll never be completed. During this break, studies have found that children struggling with shortened attention spans have helped with this exercise. You can also do things that relax you for a short period of time, or you can do things that hardly stimulate your mind, such as sleeping, listening to music, or meditating. This will help by giving you rest, so when you come back, you are ready to get back into the mix of working. Another great thing to take breaks from that will also take a lot of willpower is giving up scrolling TikTok and going through Instagram Reels 3 hours a day. Try limiting yourself screen time and go from 3 hours to 30 minutes. It'll help you take more time to do other activities like exercising or talking to people or going to bed before 11 p.m. Number 2, neurological training. This is training your brain to focus on one thing at a time to increase your attention span. This is different from taking breaks in that this is a form of mental exercise, meaning it is going to take a lot more effort. You can do this by working on a task and removing all distractions possible to force you and your brain to focus on one single task for a long period of time. This could be doing homework and making sure your iPhone or Android is in an entirely other room. You can also achieve this effect not by working on something, but by reading a book for an hour or longer. This is a great and easy way to work out your attention span. Number 3, being healthy. To make sure you're mentally healthy, you have to be physically healthy first. This includes eating a proper diet, drinking water every day as much as needed to avoid dehydration, and regular exercise. This will help keep your mind off fighting sickness due to poor physical health and more on completing a task. Number 4. Nervous tics. Now, this is something that most of us do naturally. This could be a slight tap of the foot, maybe a little drumming of fingers on the table, and one of the more common and popular ones, chewing gum. It gives your brain a semi-distraction and keeps it stimulated while you complete other tasks. If neurological training was riding a bike for 3 miles, think of gum or nervous tics as some training wheels where you still have to pedal, but it takes away the need to consider balance and other things. It's kind of like cheating at exercising by grabbing lighter weights. Now, disclaimer. It is important to note that attention spans can also be shortened due to uncontrollable circumstances such as the death of a relative, or a breakup, or other depressing things. Or other outside factors like having ADHD or a medical condition such as diabetes or asthma. Not all of these examples or strategies to deal with short attention spans will help with all people or all scenarios, so make sure to pick and choose which ones you feel fit your lifestyle the best based on what you know about yourself.